Hey everybody, Dan here with Fin Feather for Outfitters. Today we're looking at a Smith Wesson Model 10. Check this out. Would you believe that this has been around since 1899? Many different variations. It's a beautiful looking revolver. Stood the test of time. Very iconic. It aged well. And a lot of people still love the classic revolver. We're going to talk about it, so let's do it. The Smith Wesson Model 10 has been around a long time, and there's a reason for that. It's because they are reliable, people love the function of it, has many of the modern features that people love with Smith revolvers. However, this is a classic from 1899, unbelievable. And so this is the most modern version. This is actually called a Model 10-15. Now, every time you see a Smith revolver with a dash, that means something has been improved. The latest here, you could call it an improvement or not, but they got rid of the internal lock. That made it a -15, but 15 improvements throughout the years. You can see why so many people love this. The grip is rather thin. It's a Tyler Gunworks grip. And it's a wood grip. I love wood grips. I think they're super cool. And Tyler Gunworks, they do a nice job. Some wood grain in there. And this is built on a K-frame. All right. And then you look at the beautiful bluing on it. Smith does a great job with that. That's one company that really knows what they're doing. And then it has a carbon steel frame and barrel. And it's a 6-shot 38 special. All right, and it still has the same push forward cylinder release, 6 chambers in there. And then everything else with the 4-inch barrel it looks original outside of the fancy newer bluing. It has a very common look to it, and like I mentioned, a rich history. The rear sight is a tunnel. Now it does have a little cutout in there. I don't know if you can see that, and it has a tall, that's not a ramp, it's more of a bevel, sort of a bump, if you will, a large bump. But when you have a front sight like that, you want to bury it in that front sight. It feels like you're pointing down, but you're not, and you're pretty well dead nuts. It doesn't have much of an underlug at all, just a piece there to hold the ejector, if that's even an underlug. I suppose it is. But it still has that Smith & Wesson trigger that so many people love. That single action is so nice. I dry fired this right next to some modern Smith & Wessons, and I will tell you that it feels identical. Double action, yeah, you can't beat that either. You just right there and pull back. So you can stage the trigger a bit right there, and then when you're ready, just squeeze a little bit, and there you go. Check this out. Now, if you go with this, it'll come in this case right here. Not much in a revolver case. You may know that. Basically, just a cylinder chamber flag, if you will, and a lock right here. Padded case, common Smith case. They'll go with this. And the revolver itself, well, it's an icon if you're into these. Now, when I featured it, many people said, hey, I still have one of those. I carry. People said they carry it. You know, it's got some weight behind it. There's no doubt about that. But that just shows you that the people trust this thing. They say, you know, for a 6-shot 38 special, it performs great, enough to carry. I personally would think this would be on the heavy side, you know, with that carbon steel frame and barrel. But hey, people carry everything. I give full-size handgun carriers credit. They don't play around. But it's a beautiful revolver. It certainly is reliable, and people love it. Now, the MSRP here is $979, so it costs money. A lot of the Smith revolvers are over $1,000. This is $979. That's what you're looking at with that fancy grip and everything else. Nice trigger action, And you gotta love that single action trigger that Smith offers, and I think you too. If anything, the collector value on this is pretty outstanding. Once again, Dan here with Fin Feather for Outfitters. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.